yeah, the Rigetti news is actually bad news. Like the fact that they can't get their fidelity higher than 99.5 is like, to me, it's like almost concerning. Is like a cop-out. Sarepta basically already said that they would do layoffs, so I don't think it's really relevant. Yeah, we have a lot of cool new quant things happening, Trade. So soon you'll be able to get historical second-by-second data, historical tick data. We're definitely going to allow you to do cool tools like, I don't know, what do we do? Like this is a very limited example, but you could do this type of work. Coke-Pepsi correlation. Not my favorite example, actually, because Coke's a little different from Pepsi, actually. But you can see the correlation coefficients, the beta, all that. And yeah, we want to basically allow you to do all kinds of interesting work that's above and beyond what Bloomberg allows. The thing about Bloomberg that people don't understand is that quants view Bloomberg as useless and as a toy that's not, serious. And that's something that, there's a reason that Susquehanna, Jane Street, 2 Sigma, they don't have much Bloomberg. The long short guys have Bloomberg, but the big dogs, they need much, much better data. They need to be able to write queries on that data. So we have some really cool tools coming that are more, more for 21st century, 2025. Well, Jeremy, it's not built for quants. That doesn't make a difference because quants have taken over Wall Street. So if you're gonna make Wall Street tools, you gotta make them for the people that work on Wall Street. Yeah, Rigetti put out a press release. It's not my biggest short temporarily, just to take advantage of this big move. Yeah, I mean, if you can't even run a 500 gate program, what's the point? Yeah, absolutely, Rashet. We're just about to launch that feature. I'm so happy you asked. Love that. And of course, you can always call me or email me. Our biggest corporate users get my undivided attention. And if you ask me to build a specific feature that you and your traders need, I'm right on it. But we are just about to launch that. So called Teams or something like that. I think we call it that internally. HIMS is, I don't think you need to trade HIMS. It's like, it's a company that's in a high state of uncertainty. We have no visibility on anything. What is compelling you to trade the stock? It's sort of like Rocket Lab and other things. Like there's no need. Nobody has a gun to your head and is saying you must trade HIMS right now. Yeah, so most quants do build their own tools, but I don't think they necessarily want to. There's nothing like having a software that just does it for you. And remember, there are people that are not necessarily, quant is a full spectrum idea, right? I mean, there are people that are completely systematic from front end to back end. Then there are people that are firms that are like completely systematic front end, but the back end is like punted to an outside group. And then there are people that are just, I want to run certain queries that look quantitative, but I'm not going to trade them systematically. It's a really big, wide range. It's a big tent, as the Democrats would say. It's a big tent thing. I don't know anything about IREN. Isn't this just a Bitcoin treasury or whatever? Bitcoin mining? I don't know those kinds of companies. I don't really care about them. They seem kind of silly. DARZALEX for J&J, 23%. That is so crazy. $3.5 billion medicine for 1 quarter. That makes it 13 for the year. Yeah, maybe by the end of the day, Rigetti will be down. I mean, this kind of thing really just traps idiots. Yeah, chiplet's a weird term. Guy came from LSI Logic, so he thinks of everything as trad semis. And I don't know if that's what you want for a quantum CEO, but the rumor is he's on the way out too. We'll see. Volume is nuts on Rigetti. Yeah, it's just a big nothing burger. I've not looked at Mink. Isn't it like some microcap? We try not to look at the super microcaps. These are like flies on the wall that you just haven't swatted yet. Who cares about Bitcoin mining, dude? It's so cringe. There's real businesses to worry about. I don't know much about the CAIA. Yeah, Sarepta's already said they're going to do layoffs, so not surprising. Just a question of how many people. It's probably more important. No, there are cringe stocks. Make it clear. There are definitely cringe stocks. I've never heard of this company being in the AI data center business, so Maybe they'll get into it, but I don't follow that business either. I mean, I know CoreWeave a little bit, but I know pharma, I know software. Yeah, I think Take-Two is a short. I mean, Grand Theft Auto would have to be the biggest video game of all time times 10 for the valuation to make sense. And, you know, it's not clear what's going to happen in the video game industry. It's changing pretty rapidly. People are finding other forms of entertainment. You know, I don't think video games are going anywhere, but I'm not sure this is the big stock to buy. Yeah, it could go fine, but, you know, the expectations are very, very high. Yeah, you know, Roblox is Roblox their best case scenario? Maybe 2x Roblox. Roblox 76 billion. Take-Two's 42 billion. So they can make a online persistent gangster world. But Roblox is a little weird because it's like much more of a marketplace. Yeah, exactly, Jonathan. There's a lot of things changing. Okay, we're up now. Still want to keep shorting Rigetti. You guys hitting it with me? No, you have to be hitting it with me.
Like if I jump, my man's gonna jump with me. Like
if I short, you're gonna short with me. Oh, if I go down 50%, you're going down 50% with me. Yeah, it's hard to just break into the data center business all of a sudden. You know, you can't just sort of show up and say, I'm gonna do data centers too. You need a balance sheet, you need a lot of things. And everybody in the world wants to do this now. Like, I'm not sure it's even a smart thing to do. You know, CoreWeave, for example, you just show up and say, I'm going to spend all this money to buy some GPUs. Then I'm going to sell the GPUs to people who want them. Why would they go through me instead of buying it themselves? I don't know. It's monkey see, monkey do, you know? And then at some point, everybody's got chips and big data centers that are expensive, and the clients say, meh. You know, so it's certainly, I mean, you know, it doesn't hurt. It's not I'll say this. I mean, it's not a crazy business, but it's sort of it's an eyebrow raiser. Like, why now? You know, is this just going to be a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger business that just goes insane? Maybe. Okay, so you want to compete with CoreWeave. You want to compete with all these guys. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. I don't know. But, you know, is Meta just going to be like a never-ending fountain of dollars? Or is Meta buying these chips direct and doing it themselves? About XAI, you know, they're buying their chips and doing it themselves, right? They're never going to use CoreWeave. Why would we use CoreWeave? Why? No, just build it yourself in Memphis. Here's a screwdriver. You know, OpenAI has so much demand, they kind of need to do it, but I think in the long run, you know, Eduardo, Nassim Taleb is based and cringe at the same time somehow. So, you know, it just doesn't feel like you should pay a whole lot more than whatever NVIDIA is paying for them. Or whatever they're paying for them at list price. It's kind of like, you know, why would you value those GPUs at so much more than what they cost? Yeah, the market should be somewhat efficient. Of course, NVIDIA is making their product so that their customers do make money. Otherwise, the customers would buy the product in the first place. But look, you know, CoreWeave's worked really well. You know, I don't blame any company that says I want to be like CoreWeave. CoreWeave's like 100 billion market cap. You know, it's a really capital intensive business. You gotta put down so much capital. Elmo just notices things. Reflections on OpenAI post about a guy who just left. Thoughts on thoughts? London is coming with International, which should be coming very soon. I didn't get a chance to listen to J&J. Yeah, I mean, IRN just isn't that interesting. Sorry, man. Bootstrapping your own CoreWeave competitor. Yeah, I do think the J&J pipeline is not clear how they're going to grow through DARZALEX expiry. ASM down 11% now. I'm going to stream with my kid. I'm going to still stream from work. Oh my gosh, a company's going to do layoffs? That sounds really bearish. Shorting bubbles is like surfing a huge wave. You got to get it just right or it's going to be painful, but eventually the wave breaks. Yeah, I think the market's topping, but that usually means there's another 10 or 20% in 6 months before it tops. Yeah, exactly. You got to make sure you don't wipe out. Wipe out. Yeah, Quantum's dying down. Wrestling some angry beast. Jensen is like every other businessman. He's got to market and he's got to sell. Bro, we just need a new office at the end of the day. One of my friends moved into this building and he moved He moved right out. I actually do think he moved to Trump Tower, or he was going to move in Trump Tower. Apparently, you can have. There's office space in Trump Tower. UK equities very soon, days away. Yeah, that Fifth Avenue is going to be rough. I agree. We're not in Stuytown. We're in Midtown. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but I want you guys to see this.
Over the past 8 years, I've walked through something I didn't create, but became the primary target of. A non-governmental system. Not visible, but operational. Not official, but structurally real.
So this guy is a VC, pretty prominent VC. Been writing some weird stuff.
I'm someone with nothing left to prove and everything left to protect. I didn't disappear. I was processed.
So dude put a ton of money in OpenAI. And that was like, that's gone up a lot.
I mean, the guy is very rich. Like, I don't think he needs to LARP about anything.
Okay, I have access to exclusive access to like a very funny, a new tool that I don't know if anybody else has. I don't think anybody else has. It's an audio tool. It's supposed to be the best voice cloning tool around. You guys want to hear it? You can try a few different ones, but I'm promised it's the best tool there is. So let's see. I was in this business at one point, so okay, here's the voice data I have. I've got 50 Cent, Jeff Bezos, Alex Jones, Anderson Cooper, Andrew Tate, Barack Obama, Ben Shapiro, Bill Clinton, Beyonce. I mean, we should be able to try any one of these pretty quickly. Yeah, this one is unique. Let me see how it goes.
Yeah, how's it going? Just trying to get through the week here, you know? Got a bunch of different things I'm juggling right now, but I'm trying to keep it focused on maybe 2 or 3 main priorities instead of getting pulled in every direction.
Hi, Mark Zuckerberg. It's Martin Shkreli. I'm actually doing what you're doing. I'm getting into the software business.
Oh, hey, Martin. Yeah, that's interesting timing to connect with you then. Software is definitely one of those spaces where, you know, you can really build something meaningful if you focus on solving the right problems.
Well, there you have it. Yeah, Rigetti doesn't have too many long-term investors. No institutions are really in this space. They might join this space at some point. Oh, is Heights the biggest stockholder of Rigetti? When did Heights buy Rigetti? That was, they did the deal. They did that deal in, they did the pipe in 24 at like $1. These guys are amazing. Yeah, not too much institutional investors. It's very, very strange. So like if you look at Sarepta or any other company, institutions are literally 100% of the stockholders, which makes sense. But if you look at any of the quantum stocks, 37%. So strange. And most of these are quant funds. They don't have any person sitting there picking stocks. It's just some machine doing it. So if you take those out, it's even less. And it's just unprecedented, quite frankly. Strangest thing in the world. And it's, you know, I mean, we know why. We talk to Wall Street all day, and there's a reason they avoid these stocks. Yeah, meme stocks. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the prize, right? Is that, you know, you get this wild irrationality. Just any other institutional stock. Like if you pick like pick any software company or something. Let's pick Asana software company. 99% institutional investors. HIMS 105%. You know, so there's something very strange about, you know, half of your stock is in retail, VCs who are long gone, quant funds who are net short, or short vol at least. NVIDIA is different because it's one of the biggest stocks in the world. NVIDIA's 73% and tons of institutions. The key is looking for institutions that have a human being with a pulse that's picking the stock. Imagine the Fed cuts rates as if there isn't enough liquidity as it is. I don't know ASPI very well. Seemed like a scam last I looked at it. Oh, I think Medallion has already been reverse engineered. Many funds are doing what that fund's done. Some are doing even better. I think it's not that retail is good or bad, it's just bizarre. With these stocks up so much, you would think some institutions would nibble even a little bit, but the tenor on Wall Street is basically everyone wants to stay away from it. Yeah, SandboxAQ is another quantum scam. Quantum is just sort of in general, just Scott Aronson's interview was very funny. I don't know if you guys saw Scott's interview, but he's basically just sort of saying what he's been saying continuously. An array of billionaires and the dream of two world-changing technologies has turned SandboxAQ into a $5.6 billion startup star. But the company's business has failed to keep up with the hype, and its CEO's behavior is now under scrutiny. Sandbox's success is so far illusory. Nearly all of the revenue can be traced back to Sergey Brin, who helped found the company. Inside the company, employees have been complaining about CEO Jack Hidari's behavior. The company investigated him for lavish spending on entertainment and travel, including for women who had no connections to Sandbox's operations. Sandbox has placed itself at the nexus of two of the hottest technologies, AI and quantum computing. The vast promises of both have attracted big investors from Eric Schmidt, Mark Benioff, Jim Breyer, and Ray Dalio. Sandbox, which grew out of an incubator inside of Alphabet, has raised $1 billion. This month, it arranged for outside investors to buy $95 million in shares held by existing employees. Hidari, who owns the majority of shares in the Sandbox, has sold about $50 million in the tender offer. Hidari and Sandbox declined to comment. Breyer said, Hidari is a world-class CEO. His team has executed well. Peter Teague said, firm believes deeply in Jack and his team and Sandbox's portfolio approach. Their models are called large quantitative AI models. When it raised $450 million earlier this year, Sandbox told investors it would generate $90 in 2025 and $250 in 2026. Does it sound familiar? They had announced that they wanted to do $130 in 2025. So now they're forecasting just 90. So far, it is well behind those projections. It had only 10 million in revenue in the first quarter. With more than 200 million employees, their expenses are around 200 million a year. 90% of the 10 million in first quarter revenue were grants from Sergey Brin, close friend and mentor of Hidari, an own stockholder of the company. 90% of the revenue. The remaining revenue for SandboxAQ came from small contracts in the hundreds of thousands of dollars from companies engaged in proof of concept trials of its technology, such as Sanofi, Airbus, and the DoD. This is how all of quantum works. They'll spend $100,000 and placate you. Brin and Hidari first worked together at an experimental group within Alphabet known as Sergey Sandbox, which eventually grew and spun out into SandboxAQ. The men struck up an alliance after Hidari began teaching math at Alphabet for internal learning and development. Since then, Hidari has faced complaints from employees that have sometimes struggled to retain key hires. Last spring, at least 3 executives pressured him to rein in his spending, restructure the business to focus on areas likely to produce commercial success, and get a traditional board with directors and hold regular meetings. The board doesn't meet regularly, consists of him, Schmidt, and his longtime accountant. They shared their concerns with the CEO and they were removed. There was a separate complaint with Hidari's former assistant, who told colleagues she was uncomfortable when Hidari asked her to spend time with a woman he had brought as a guest to the Wimbledon tennis tournament. The assistant's complaint triggered a bigger investigation. Sandbox asked Hidari to repay money he spent entertaining or paying for women to travel at the expense of the company. Hidari previously brought numerous young women who were not Sandbox employees to company events. He flew them on private jets, paid for by the company, even in instances when he was not present on the aircraft. Hidari made extensive use of private jets. That's insane. Chartered fleets of cars to drive to meetings. Flew to gatherings held on Schmidt's yacht off the coast of St. Tropez, and stayed in luxury accommodations in Europe and Middle East. He hired separate drivers just to take care of his luggage. I recently had the pleasure of sitting down with Katy Perry of StockTwits to discuss D-Wave's recent progress.
Hi everyone, welcome back for.
Well, I think 𝗥𝗢𝗘𝗢𝗕 is kind of smart to be focused on this, like something that a lot of people are focused on, right? Like this is clear. I mean, clearly traders are enamored with quantum. I mean, it's an amazingly large amount of volume. It's like kind of nuts, right? If you'd go to most, the number one traded stock after Open Door, which is a penny stock, is Rigetti, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you think about it. Now that just pops up every now and then. I'm being told, okay, this might be more reason for the move than anything else. Is looks like Bank of America has come out with primer on quantum computing. And yeah, this is another attempt to get banking business. Kind of sad. I'll put this on Godel, but this is nuts. I want to talk to these guys. This might be what's going on as well. If you thought, 𝗥𝗢𝗘𝗢𝗕 was bad, expensive sell-side research ain't any better. A human would have to perform one sum every second for 50 quintillion years to equal what a quantum computer could do in a single second. This could be the biggest revolution for humanity since discovering fire. Okay, if this isn't a sell, I'm not a client. Bruh. The power couple of QC and AI is artificial superintelligence. Stop. That's crazy. Okay, I'll put this on the Martin component. This is Bank of America note out on quantum computing. A little bit insane. Yeah, it definitely feels like 2000 again.
Thank you all for joining. This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.
Yeah, I think, taking the worst case off the table is pretty exciting for, the stock or the company. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why you don't get 1.5, maybe 2 billion in recurring revenue. Put a conservative 3x multiple on that. You still have a double. So pretty solid, long, been playing defense for a long time in this stock and happy to see a little bit of offense, but still have ways to go to get back to the, say $50. There's a D-Wave archive paper that was published by 𝗢𝗎𝗘. So it'd be really interesting to see what that says. They put this out three months ago. So I look forward to reading that. I'm also supposed to talk to these people, so it'll be interesting. Anyway, subscribe to Godel if you're up on Sarepta. Go to GodellTerminal.com and hit the subscribe button. It's only $80, and you'll have a brand new stock idea exclusively on Godel, so you'll be able to trade the idea if you see fit before it's released more openly. So you get first dibs, and I think it's a really good idea. It's a biotech stock. So anyway, check that out.